Okay, so we're continuing our bad advice. Mornings of bad advice with Rafi and Klee.
An enjoyable little jaunt through some terrible advice for your morning pleasure.
Rafi's tips for artists because he loves you.
Hola, you amazing artists. So today we are continuing the bad advice series. We have 11 more for today, and this is bad advice that we've gotten throughout our art career or even previously to our art career. Things that maybe we did or we did not do, but that we definitely should not have listened to. Advice is advice. So some of these things may work for you, some of them may not. But these are just things that we decided not to go with because they didn't fit into what we consider our art career. Without further ado, let's get to it, shall we?
We shall.
And just remember, you guys, take these with a grain of salt.
Or a full teaspoon of salt in some cases here.
Yeah, a full teaspoon may be necessary.
Number 11 is a gem that came from my family. You should come home and be there for your dad instead of out gallivanting around in a truck.
Oh yeah, that's when we left and traveled around the country.
And I was like, my dad is a grown man. It's gonna be okay.
Yeah, and the thing is that there's nothing wrong with your dad.
He's taking care of himself. He has friends. He has a life.
He's young. He's in his 50s or whatever. It's not like...
He's not an invalid. He doesn't need me. He just got lonely for a while immediately following my departure, and my family tried to rally to convince me to come back.
And that's the thing. Family is going to rally, or family is going to be opposed to what it is that you want to do because they believe that you're supposed to do one thing. Whatever it is that they think that you're supposed to do. And really, when it comes down to it, what you are supposed to do is what you want to do.
A little secret is that my family has been opposed to every big decision I've ever made in my creative life. And trust me, they eventually get over it. Number 12. Oh, this one came from your art teacher in school.
Yeah.
You should never pursue a career in art. You just don't have what it takes.
Oh, yeah.
What a piece of crap turd of advice is this?
So, me and my art teacher did not get along. For most of my scholastic career, my art classes were my favorite classes, and I loved my art teachers, and it was awesome. It was an awesome experience. But I had one art teacher that was just so miserable. The guy never smiled, and he really just did not like me for some reason. When I think about it, I'm like, well, maybe he didn't like me because he saw some talent in me and he was trying to push me in a negative way for me to face my stuff. But the fact is that back then I was not having it. Now, the problem with that isn't that he said that. The problem with that is that there was a portion of me that believed that. So for a very, very long time, I did not pursue my art career. Now, it wasn't just him. It was his advice, and couple that together with my dad saying, what do you think? You're going to be able to make money with your stupid little pictures and your stupid little art career, and other people just not believing that it was a possibility. And so I put it off and went into corporate for many, many years, and then eventually had a breakdown and left corporate, and now I'm doing this. Do I regret not doing my art career? No, I don't. Because I am where I am now, and everything in my life has led me to this point, and I am good. I am good with where I'm at, even though I have many more gray beards. I not just this beard, I have another beard.
Number 13. You should wait to show your art until you're sure you have a perfect, cohesive collection.
Ugh, that is crappy advice.
Every time I've ever tried to show my art anywhere, it's pretty much been a mad dash to make sure that I have just enough pieces to show. And when I started showing my work, there was zero cohesion. I figured it out as I went.
That's one of those excuses that I used in order to not pursue my art career. It was like, well, I gotta wait till everything is perfect. Just get started now. Whatever it is that you have, that's enough to get started. You could create as you go. And that's the reason that I got started. I had zero creations for the first weekend when I very, very first started. That week, I created 5 or 6 pieces, just little pieces that I could show. And then every week, As I went, I created more and more pieces, and that's how I built up my collection. And now here we are 10 years later, and I've got 200 pieces that are either in here or out in local businesses, and I've sold over 1,000 pieces, and none of that would have happened had I just waited around to have a cohesive collection. Most times, you're not going to feel ready to get started, so you might as well just get started anyway.
Number 14. Don't take any risks unless you have a really well-formulated plan.
I need to have a plan in order to go forward because who knows what will happen. The truth is, who knows what will happen? So the only part of the plan that you need to have is the first step. The way that I work is very much, I take a step, look at my surroundings, figure it out, take my next step, look at my surroundings, figure it out, take the next step, and that's how I've progressed through my art career. Now, Klee and I are slightly different when it comes to that.
I'm a little more careful, but I do agree with you, actually, and I admire your tactics. And look, I've said this before, but I'll reiterate. If you don't think this is good advice we're giving you, think about this. The brain is really good at assessing real-time situations and making decisions.
Oh, yeah.
And it sucks arse at predicting future outcomes.
You get the information as you go, so you might as well figure it out as you go.
I like to get myself emotionally prepared and as ready as possible, but then you gotta just go for it.
Yeah.
And we're not saying to just hit the gas pedal, close your eyes, and scream the whole way.
No.
We're just saying, take the step that's in front of you, assess, and then take another step.
Yep, baby steps.
Don't go into analysis paralysis, as Rafi likes to say.
Yeah.
Number 15 was a little gem of advice that came from my mom, which was, don't do it! You should have stayed at your job. You were doing so well there.
Yeah.
Look, do we need to even talk about this one?
We're not advocating leaving your job. Like, the only way to be happy is to leave your job. You need to decide for yourself what it is that you want to do. For a lot of successful artists, they keep a part-time job or they even have a full-time job and they're able to manage both their art career and their job at the same time, which is great because then you're dealing with a much more consistent income. Or you decide that you want to live like us where there is absolutely no security whatsoever.
For me, I knew that I had to burn those bridges and force myself to take this creative path if I was going to follow through with it. But we have a lot of very good friends that love their jobs and they don't want to leave their jobs, and so they do their job and their art and they're very happy in doing so.
For us, we wanted to take this step because I needed to immerse myself in this world, and I knew after a lot of failed times of doing it that this was the only way that would work for me. So despite what anyone tells you, you need to do what is right for you. You need to try what is right for you in order to see if it works or it doesn't work.
Number 16. There's a right way and a wrong way to become an artist.
This was one of the ones that I would hear so many times before I actually dipped my feet into becoming a professional artist, that there was a right way to do it and there was a wrong way to do it, which really confused me because I was like, well, which way do I do it? Because there is no consensus. Nobody knows exactly which way it is for you to become a real artist. Do you approach big name galleries? Do you strike out on your own? Do you need to find an agent? Do you need to find a collector? There are so many different routes that you could take to becoming a full-time artist that there is no right way or wrong way. There is just your way. You have to find your voice in order to find out which is the best way for you to create your art career. It has to feel right to you, or else you're just walking in somebody else's shoes.
Yeah, and you don't have to have it all figured out in the beginning.
No.
We sure didn't.
No, we did not. You just figure it out as you go. That's the fun part of the adventure.
Number 17. The only way to succeed is to get into a good art gallery.
Good art gallery. Man, I am not a big fan of the gatekeepers and your entire career being tied up in somebody else's decision of you. It's a very disempowering idea to say my entire career relies solely on what somebody else's opinion is of me and my art. And that's just not my approach. That was advice that kept me really, really stagnant towards the beginning because I was terrified to approach galleries. And if I did approach galleries, I would get rejected because I didn't have a body of work, because I didn't have all these things that people advise you that you should have before you get started. And it was nearly impossible for me to get there. Totally different approach for me to go out there and create my own art career and figure it out as I go. And at this point in time, I am way further along than I would have ever been had I been planning it out and thinking to myself, I need to get into a gallery. At this point, galleries could approach me and I could take a look at their offer and decide whether or not I want to be in their gallery or not.
Yeah, and we're not trying to say don't do the gallery thing. Galleries are great. We're in a gallery. But it's just one small piece of what we do.
Yeah.
It's not a make or break our career kind of thing.
It is not. A lot of artists think that, once I get into a gallery, I'll be like, no, it's not.
Number 18. Oh. Do as many art fairs as humanly possible. This is one that we did try to do for quite some time.
We did as many for about 3 years. We did every single art fair opportunity that there was, even at times doing as many as 3 art fairs in one weekend. So every week we had something set up. It was great because it is great advertising and a great way to get your name out there in the local eye. But if you put all your focus on that and that's what you're doing, I could tell you right now, you will burn out. I always recommend to you guys to do the markets and to put yourself out there in person where you could talk to the people that are maybe becoming your collectors in the future. But I would have to say that if you are going to do something, be very strategic about it. If you do want to do a bunch of art shows every weekend, that's fine, but you're going to need break time. You get burned out, or you just kind of become reliant on the art festival system.
Yeah, that's a very easy trap to fall into too, to feel like you need to constantly be doing shows in order to make your living that way.
Yeah. When you're getting started, put yourself out there, experience it, but don't allow yourself to get to the point where you're just relying on the markets for income. Think of the markets or festivals as advertising. This is marketing. I'm marketing myself whenever I do these, and be strategic about when and where you do those.
Number 19. Take a marketing course and learn how big business works before you complain about rolling in your shipping costs. Okay, this one's very specific, and a lot of you guys know where this came from.
Yep.
But basically, we're illustrating that some of the advice we've gotten is to do our research and learn about big business before we open our mouths about our morals and values.
Yeah, exactly. And so a lot of people will give you snippy advice like that, like, well, you should learn marketing and you should learn this. And the fact of the matter is that most people that are going to give you that kind of advice don't have any clue what they're talking about. They don't know your background. They don't know who you are. They don't know what you've done. Whenever I read a comment like that, they sound like a complete ass to me because I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about. A lot of people are going to approach you with that kind of advice based on the fact that they don't know who you are. And so any advice like that, don't take it personal, but at the same time, really, really be scrutinous of the things that people are telling you that you should do or that you shouldn't do.
And on that note, my reply was like, I'm not running a big business. We're not a publicly traded corporation. I'm running a small business, and I know very well how small business works. Number 20. You have to spend the majority of your budget on advertising.
So there are different courses online that artist friends of mine have taken that are all about Facebook marketing, are all about newsletters and marketing, and basically the old way of doing marketing. And what they say is that you need to spend a healthy budget on marketing. That kind of stuff works if you are targeting a market. I have used paid advertising only for a very few amount of things, not my artwork. Whenever I'm releasing calendars, it is in my benefit to do paid advertising because you could really target a market of people that are looking for calendars, looking for art calendars specifically. But when it comes to my art, I guess I'm what you would consider unmarketable.
You're more like guerrilla marketable.
Yeah, I'm guerrilla market. I like coming up with creative ways to market myself. And the truth is that the best marketing out there is stuff that doesn't even exist yet. It is innovative thinking, creative thinking. And us as creators, we need to trust in our own ideas and our own brain farts and our own brainstorming as far as how is best to market ourselves.
You decide how to spend your monies, but our advertising budget has always been one of the smallest of our expenses.
Yeah.
And that's how we like it. Number 21, you should stick to only one specific genre or medium of art.
Okay, so this is something that still till this day we get a lot of questions about. Do you think that I should create like one specific style, one specific medium, that I should stick with one thing? Because what they see in the art world is they see a lot of artwork from one artist and it all looks the same. I have a bunch of different series, and that's what I call artwork that is similar but different to the other artwork that I have. It's a specific style or a specific medium or a specific something that makes them fit within one another.
And for me, it's collections. I have collections that are similar and unlike other collections, but they all have a cleanness about them.
Yeah, they all have a cleanness or a Rafiness about them. You look at Jeff Koons, he's got a bunch of different things. You look at Gerard Richter, he's got several different styles of paintings. If you look at their retrospective, you're not going to see all the same style of something. You're going to see a bunch of different styles. That's the life of a creative. You're going to want to create different things because you're going to want to experiment. Playing around with different mediums is always something that flexes those creative muscles in your brain.
The insider art stock market will tell you that this is a no-no. You don't want to do that. They get mad when you deviate from the norm.
Yeah, because it's unmarketable. They want one product. Here's the product that comes from this artist. This is what they create. It's the same thing as with the music labels getting an artist and saying, this is the kind of music that you need to create.
Yeah, that's why the sophomore album generally sucks.
And that's it for the 21 pieces of bad advice altogether. If you did not get a chance, you can watch our last video. Our last video has the other 10. I wanted to give a shout out to our collab lab creators. On Patreon, I do a collab lab challenge every month where we set up certain guidelines and parameters to create something. It's something to help push outside of the comfort zone of what you already create and maybe get those divergent muscles thinking.
Yeah, and even encourage you to work outside of your medium or genre.
Yeah. We've been watching Dark Crystal, so there's a lot of If you guys resonate with any of the bad advice that we've gotten, or you've received any really great bad advice, we would love to hear it. Just leave that in the comment section below. And thank you so much for watching, you guys. You guys are absolutely freaking amazing. I totally adore you. And if you like this and you want to watch more like this, just click right over here to subscribe. And that's it. Say goodbye, Klee.
Good day.
Adios.